Hey guys, and welcome to this tutorial. So in this tutorial, we're going to make the Oculus Lip Sync plugin for Unreal work with Synty Studio's Polygon Kids assets. So you can start by getting the link below, or Googling Oculus Lip Sync Unreal, and then going to the download, hit I have read and agree to the terms of the license, and download. And then once you've done that, you'll get the download, which you can extract. I'm just going to extract it to my desktop. I also have Polygon Kids here. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to go to the OVR Lip Sync Unreal demo that we just extracted, and we need to run it. It's important you do this because if you do the next step before you've done this, which is the following modules need to be rebuilt, click yes. If you copy the plugin folder to your project, it won't work, or it won't package correctly until you've done this step. So once we've done this step, and once the project opens, then we can take the plugin folder and we can copy that to our projects folder. In this case, Polygon Kids. So I'm just going to wait for the project to finish building, and I will see you in a moment when the project opens. Okay, so the project has now opened, and I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on how the Oculus Lip Sync plugin works before we move to Polygon Kids. So it actually loads a default one that uses a live version which uses your microphone. We're going to go to the Maps folder and go to Canned Playback. And this is how it works. Let me just play.
Welcome to the Oculus Lip Sync demo. Oculus Lip Sync is...
So as you can see, she speaks and there's a lip sync. So how this works is let me just open her up. There's the OVR lip sync playback component, and this uses a sequence combined with audio, which is a WAV or OGG or whatever your case may be. I don't think you can use MP3s though. So you have an audio file that plays, and it plays in sequence with the sequence for OVR, and you use the plugin to call start, basically, but you also need onViZemes ready. If you select your component, onViZemes ready in the events, assign Vizemes to morph targets, and then selecting your skeletal mesh that you want to affect, and any morph target names if you have custom morph target names. But we're not actually using morph targets. We're going to be converting this to a 2D texture in the for Polygon Kids, but I just wanted to explain how that works. So now that we know how that works, and now that the project has opened, we can take the plugins folder and we can copy it to our project folder that we want, in this case Polygon Kids. So you need plugins, OVR Lip Sync plugin in there. Remember, you have to have opened the project first to rebuild the files. You might need Visual Studio for that. I'm not 100% on that. So we're going to open Polygon Kids, and we need to use version 4.25. You might need to right-click, switch to Unreal Engine version 4.25. That's what we're using in this case. It depends on your Oculus plugin lip sync version and what version of Unreal happens to be popular at the time, but that's what we're using right now. So once this opens up, I'm going to get out of the starter content, go to Maps, and go to Demonstration, just so we have a better looking map. And we need to go to Manage Plugins, and I'm just going to close these. By default, it should enable, at least it did for me, but you might need to go to Project Audio and enable on the Oculus Lip Sync. So now that we have that, we can create our kit. So we're going to make a new folder, call it Blueprints. We're going to make a new folder in there, and call it Characters. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to Polygon Kids, Meshes, Characters, Preset Blueprints, and we're going to duplicate BP Character Kid. We're going to name it BP Lip Sync Kid. And we're going to move him to the Characters folder that we just made, so things are a little more organized. So now in here, there is one change I'm going to make. You might not need to make it in your version, because this is a beta version of Unreal for Polygon Kids that just came out. But by default, these aren't attached, or the parent socket isn't the head, so they get out of sync from the head and when animations play, which I just don't like. So I'm just going to add a scene. We're not going to necessarily go into animations, but this will just fix that. So if you add a scene and then attach it to the head, and then you'll just copy all 5 of these and just drag them to that. So now if an animation moves the head, these will properly move about. Which isn't really entirely relevant to this tutorial, but I just, in case that issue comes up if you play animations. So compile, save. Now we're going to get to the good stuff. We're going to add a component, OVR Lip Sync Playback Actor. And we are not going to set a default sequence because we don't want one. We're going to make our own custom event. So go to the event graph and right click custom event, play lip sync sound. I could probably give that a better name like play voice, but whatever. We'll go with this. So we're going to make a few functions here. First, we're going to actually we're going to go to the scene we just made and we're going to add an audio component. And we're just going to drag this to about where the mouth is, just so if you use attenuation or whatever, it comes from that right location. And we're going to go back to here, and we're going to drag this audio, and we're going to do stop. And the reason for that is because if your function is called and you're already playing audio, you want it to stop. Ideally, that's not a thing that happens, but just in case, we're just going to stop it. So once that's stopped, we are going to do set sound, and we're going to connect this, and then we're going to drag new sound to here so we can change the sound, and then we're going to do play. Actually, no, we're not going to do play. We're going to get our OVR lip sync playback component, and we're going to do set sequence, set playback sequence, and we're also going to drag this here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do start off our OVR lip sync playback actor component. Start. So from here, we need to connect our audio component. I'm just going to Control C, Control V, and the reference, put it there, and then we can drag our sequence over here too. So this should start it, but just to make sure, we need to actually call this to have it play. So what we're going to do is go into our world, drag our BP lip sync kid, and I'm just going to set the, is there a start? Delete, no, I'm just going to do play from current camera location. And then we're going to go to the blueprints, level blueprint, and we're going to right click, and we need to make sure we have our character selected, and we're going to do create reference to lip sync kid, and then we're going to type, right click type Q key, so Q keyboard event comes up. And on him, we're going to do play lip sync sound. So now this is how this works. We need to set an audio component, and we need to set a generated lip sync sequence. So I'm just going to use the demo one from the Oculus plugin, just so we can test that. So I'm just going to load that up again. And I'm going to export the audio file they use, just because I don't happen to have one on hand. And I could record one with my microphone, but it's in use right now. I don't know. It's going to get all weird. So we're just going to go to audio, right click, asset actions, export, and desktop. So that's fine. So once we've done that, we have it here. We can load our project back up. So close the old one, and so we can make a new folder called audio, and I'll make a new folder called voice lip sync. The best name, but whatever. Drag Vox LP01 in there, and right click that, generate lip sync sequence. And now we have our sequence and our audio. So we're going to go to back to the level blueprint, and we're going to put it's called Vox LP01 is our new sound, and the sequence as that. And now if we hit play, oh, we haven't actually set, sorry guys, we haven't actually set up the magic yet. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So we need to go back to the lip sync kid, and as I told you, we need to select the component and do on vising is ready. Now normally what you do with morph targets is you would just do get this, and then was it morph, assign visings to morph targets, but we're not using morph targets, which are for like 3D models. We're using this mouth here, but we need the ability to change the texture of the mouth. So we're gonna hit the magnifying glass in the material, and we're gonna duplicate the material. We're gonna call it matte lip sync mouth. We're gonna load that up, and by default it has a texture here, which is the one you see here. We're gonna get rid of this and replace it with a texture parameter. So we're gonna drag off base color and do texture parameter, and we want 2D. So we're going to name this lip. It's important when you name it. Parameter name lip. And we're going to connect the A to the opacity mask, because this should be masked. So once that's done, we can actually go back here and go to the, we need to go to the textures folder, facial textures. And so we'll use a smile by default. Smile isn't the best to use by default because the mouse open, so it's kind of like talking. But we'll use that for now. I haven't found a more neutral one. There is a more neutral one. Faces human, normal, expression, and there's like normal and smirk. But it's not fully working yet. I don't know if this is a bug related to beta or it's there, but it's like faded, so I don't know what the deal with that is. In any case, we'll just use the smile for now. So what was that called? T Polygon Kids Facial Expression Smile. So we'll just, with that selected, we'll hit this arrow so it goes here. Make sure we can see it. And we're going to be changing this anyway, so we can take a look at a few different options. I'm just experimenting with this now. It's not fully ready or perfected. Excuse me. So with our Polygon Kids, Polygon Lip Sync Kids selected, we need to go to the event graph. And on Vising is ready, we're going to make a new function. We're going to call it convert Vising zoom to texture. So with this, what we need is we're going to make a map, I think. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll make a map. So we're going to do a string, a new variable, string, and we're going to call it phonemes. I forget how to pronounce that word. It's like phonemes. I always call it phonemes, but it's not. It's phonemes, I think. So we're going to select with variable type, string, we'll click this little button and convert it to a map. And then we're going to change the integer to texture 2D. And then we're going to make our little map. And let me just show you where I'm going to be getting this from. Hold on. So you need to Google Oculus Vising. Well, you don't need to do this. You can just copy what I'm about to say. But I don't know. It didn't even take us to the right thing. Vising reference. That's what we want. So this is it. So there's, I think it's 15 here. Sil, which is like nothing. Your blank neutral face. PP, FF, TH, DD. These are all the phonemes or visemes or what have you. And that's what we're going to basically convert to textures. So we actually need these vising names, because how this works is when you do, by default, when you do assign visemes to morph targets, it uses these names for your morph targets. So that's what you can replace with different morphs. But we're not using morphs, like I said. The reason I say that is because it goes in order. So if we get this, we can do get visemes, and this gives us all the values, but it's correlated to the viseme name in the way it's listed here. And that's what we're going to convert to our map. So we're going to add an element to our map here, and we're just going to name it Sil. And this is just going to be the blank expression. So what do we have for that? We'll just click the magnifying glass with our texture, so we get it selected, and then click this, so we can be lazy. But it's T Polygon Kids Facial Expression Smile. It's going to be our silent. Now we might change that because there's one that's more neutral, but it's also used for letters, so I'm not sure about that, but we'll see. So I'm just going to create our phonemes real quick here, and by real quick I mean it might take me, it might not be too quick. So let's see. Let's see if I can power through this. You might want to fast forward or I'll pause it. We'll see. So we need to copy them. PP, FF, TH, DD, KK, and I think lowercase, uppercase matters. I might be wrong on that. Actually, it's not going to matter because we're going to program it, but well, it will matter. I don't know. Just do it the way they have it. Won't be a problem. RR. AA. E. I think it's OU. O. And U. So once you have this map here of all your, well, all the strings related to the textures, so from here, we need to convert, we need to find like a good texture that matches up with these. So luckily, most of them already do. So I'm just going to delete all this. So we're going to go back to our event graph. On Visemes ready, we're going to call convert Visemes to texture. And in here, we're going to get our OVR playback, lip sync playback actor, and we're going to do get Visemes. And then we need to do for each loop. And we need to find out which is the biggest one and use the corresponding Viseme. Okay, so we're going to create a local variable, which are straight off here, promote to local variable, and call it, it needs to be a float, we're going to call it biggest Viseme. And on begin, or like when this is called, we're going to set that to 0. It might not be necessary since it's a local variable, but I just always do that. And so we'll set that to 0, and then we need to check if this is bigger, greater than 0, than biggest Viseme. And if it is, hold B to click and click to make a branch, or right click to take branch, and connect that. So if the array element is bigger than biggest Viseme, which is 0 on start, then we set that biggest Viseme to that. And we also need to get the array index, so we'll promote that to a local variable. And we will call that index. So we're going to get index, and when this is completed, we're going to, we could have done it a different way, but we'll just do it this way. Yeah, you know what? We should do it a different way, because, yeah. Well, this is one way we can do it. We'll just finish it through this way. So we'll just do get, I'm sorry, values, what is it, keys? Yeah, we want keys, and then get a copy. So that's one way to do it with our map. But we can just do this a different way, just to, why not? I have it set to do it the other way, so I need to do it now. So we're going to get our phonemes, we're going to get values. Sorry, keys. You know what? I'm sorry. This is the best way to do it. So we're going to get the biggest Viseme. I apologize for that. It's getting kind of late. So I'm just going to show you how to do that again. Get our phonemes, values. Nope. But we need that too, actually. Keys. Get a copy of index. Yeah, we just do it this way. Sorry, guys. Like I said, it's a bit late. So we'll define, get this. That should work, I think. And then we need to get our face, which is the mouth here, the mouth texture. We need to actually set this to matte. We need to set the material to matte lip sync mouth, which is our mouth, if we recall, that we made. And then we need to go to convert this. We need to get it. We need to do set. Oh, sorry, I forgot a step. We need to go to the event graph, right click, begin play. We're going to get our face again, and we're going to create dynamic material instance and connect that. And we're going to name it, matte lip sync mouth is the source material. And we're going to promote this to a variable, and we're going to call it mouth dyne matte. And then convert Visemes to texture. We're going to get our dyne matte, and we're going to do set texture parameter by value, and connect the value here, connect this, and then name the parameter name lip. So just to go over what this does, in the material lip sync mouth, we have a texture parameter 2D called lip, and that is converted to a dynamic material on begin play in our characters, so we can affect some of its parameters. So, and then in the when OVR lip sync playback, when the event on Viseme ready is ready, we hit view here. We're going to convert Viseme to texture, and this is called when a lip sync sound is played. And then in here, we're going to get all the Visemes. We're going to find the biggest Viseme, and if there is if the current value is bigger than biggest Viseme, which we set to 0 when this function is called, then we will set the biggest Viseme value, the float, to that local value, so it always increases to the highest one. and we set the index as well. And then we get all the keys in our phonemes, where we have all the visemes and their corresponding textures, which we haven't set yet. We'll get to that. We get the index to get the key, and then we search for it by doing find, and then we get the value, which is there, and we set the texture parameter for the parameter name lip. Now we need to set these phonemes, and we need to set them, like I've showed you before, this, to a texture that looks like that. And if we search, what was it, phonemes, there is a bunch of them, but they don't correspond 100%. So I'm just going to hit the magnifying glass, and I'm going to kind of do this behind the scenes and show you what I come up with. So I'm just going to pause the video, and I will show you in a second. Hey guys, so I filled these out. I filled out this map of strings to textures. And let me just go over what I did real quick. So I changed silence to, actually this shouldn't be the freckle version, this should be BMP. Oh, that's fine. It's because it's named incorrectly, it shouldn't have freckles in the name. Anyway, so silence, we have T, Polygon Kids, facial phonemes, BMP. It's called Freckles01. That might change because it's in the let me just show you the folder. I have to magnifying glass. So basically what we're going to do here, let me just explain this. We have in Polygon Kids, texture, facial textures, face human, normal, phonemes. We have about 10 phonemes here. I think that's, yep, 10 phonemes. And we have 15 lip syncs, including silence, which is nothing. So we could change this to smile even if we wanted. That's what we had it as before. In fact, I might just do it that to see what that looks like. It'll be a happy kid. But for PP, we have we have T, Polygon Kids, facial phonemes, BMP, Freckles01. So that's what we have in this folder. And I'm trying to think of like the fastest way I can convey this information for you, because obviously it's like 15 things. But basically, here's what I'm going to do. So all these are named T, Polygon Kids, facial phonemes, and then a letter, which corresponds to the letter of that phoneme. So this one is A, this one is AEI, this one is BMP, this one is F, L, O, R, S, H, K, T, H, and U. So I'm just going to read the letters of the texture that I used and the corresponding string on the map. So for SIL, I use smile. For PP, I use BMP. For FF, I use F. For TH, I use TH. For DD, I use SHK, and I think that's because it was just the closest looking one. There might be one that looks better, but that's what I used. For KK, I have SHK. For CH, I have the same one, SHK, underscore K actually. For SS, I have also the same one, SH underscore K. For NN, I have L. For RR, I have R. For AA, I have A. For E, I have AEI. For I have AEI. For O, I have O, and for U, I have U. So there might be better ways to do this, but that's what I came up with. So we're going to compile and save this, and we're going to close our texture, hit yes, so it saves. And we're going to now make sure everything is right here. So when you do play lip sync sound, it should stop the current audio, set the sound, set the playback sequence, and start. And then that'll call on visemes ready every few milliseconds and do convert visemes to texture and do this. So I think that should be good. So let's hit play. If we go back to our level blueprint, open level blueprint, we have cue, play lip sync sound, new sound, and sequence. So let's see if that works.
Welcome to the Oculus Lip Sync demo. Oculus Lip Sync is a library that analyzes a user's voice and maps the voice in real time to a set of facial position weights. These weights are also known as visemes. Visemes can be used to blend morph target geometry or select from an image that best matches the strongest viseme. Oculus Lip Sync can be used in conjunction with voice over IP to animate avatar faces across a network, for example. It can also be used to drive canned speech for non-player controlled characters, much like this demo is doing right now.
All right, so that's that. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.
Welcome to the